The NFL Today is presented by the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator. This seat is reserved for the restless.
And welcome back to the NFL Today. And now game day delivery presented by Amazon Prime takes you out live to Indianapolis for the sights and sounds of the game between the Broncos and the Colts. Let's join our announcers, Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn.
JB, they've been one of the biggest surprise stories in the NFL through the first 7 weeks. The Indianapolis Colts have handled some high-level competition of late. Today, Jacoby Brissett and the Colts host the Denver Broncos at Lucas Oil Stadium. Indianapolis is in sole possession of first place in the AFC South for the first time in 4 years with a 4-2 record. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Ian Eagle, along with the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Evan Washburn will join us down on the sidelines. After the sudden retirement of Andrew Luck, the fate of the Colts season was very much a mystery. But what we've seen is the development of Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. And what he did last week was absolutely carve up the Houston Texans.
Yeah, 4 touchdown passes, 326 yards passing. Let's check him out. He subtly moves in the pocket. He sees his first read is covered. He then notices the crossing route may come open, but still has time to check out a third receiver, who's also covered, so it's back to the open Zach Pascal for the score. And then behind this superb offensive line and pass protection, Brissett steps up into the pocket and patiently awaits for the deep crossing route to develop. A couple of good examples of Brissett maturing as a starting quarterback.
And Dan, the chemistry with his weapons evolving. T.Y. Hilton, he's putting up numbers in a different way, not the big passes downfield necessarily. Zach Pascal, he had his best game as a pro last week, and Eric Ebron has become such a dependable target in the red zone for Indy. The head coach is Frank Reich. And right now, he is among the leading candidates for Coach of the Year in the NFL. For more on the head coach and the team in general, here's Evan.
Yeah, what a difference a year makes. And through 6 games in 2018, this team was 1-5, and people were questioning whether Frank Reich was right for this job. Well, a complete turnaround, and he credits a lot of this portion of the schedule for that turnaround. He calls it maintenance mode. That's how most teams look at this portion of the schedule, pacing themselves towards that playoff push. Well, the Colts, they're hitting the gas pedal, everything at game speed at practice, and it's a mentality around the building that these guys have bought into.
And Evan, Denver, on the flip side, might be in selling mode right now. Emmanuel Sanders was dealt earlier this week to San Francisco, the 2-time All-Pro wide receiver. What does that leave at the position for the Broncos? Inexperience. Courtland Sutton certainly has the ability to be a #1 receiver in this league, but if you add up all the numbers in terms of yardage, it's the lowest career yardage on any team in the National Football League. The bread and butter, though, Dan, we know for Denver, it's the running game.
Well, for them to win today, the running game must carry the load. It's a familiar 1-2 punch of Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman. Lindsay gets the bulk of the carries, and it's averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. While Freeman actually has more catches than Lindsay, he's also averaging 4 yards a carry. Together, they must be effective in order for the Bronco play-action passing game to work for Joe Flacco.
Strong statement this week from perennial Pro Bowler Von Miller, stating that he wants to be a Bronco. He only wants to see other players that want to be Broncos on the team. He said to us last night, it was not a personal shot on anybody, Emmanuel Sanders. It was more for the younger players. They needed to hear that at this juncture. Time for us to do Project Smarter, presented by the Home Depot.
Well, amazingly, Joe Flacco has had better success on the road so far this season. We'll see if that continues with that very inexperienced receiving corps. Marlon Mack has had a solid start to his 3rd season here in Indy, especially effective in picking up first downs and keeping drives alive. Frank Reich told us yesterday his goal today is to have 150 yards rushing and 250 yards passing. Flacco sacked 8 times last week against the Chiefs. He told us yesterday that more play-action passes may help with pass protection. We'll see.
It's the 28th all-time meeting between the Broncos and the Colts, and the roof is open in Indianapolis. We count it down to the opening kickoff of the NFL on CBS.